Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel and welcome to Mizuno Pro Day. The Mizuno Pro 2-4 series have been released. I've got this one which is going to be the overview. I've also then got the 245, 243 and 241 individual specific reviews that are coming after this video, so make sure you've subscribed and bell on and all that lot so you don't miss those. They're the ones that I'm going to be doing the full forgiveness testing that I do in my reviews to understand how well these will perform for different people depending on where you hit it on the face. And then I'm going to be doing other reviews as well when it comes to the comparisons between the old 2-2 series and the 2-4 series, 2-4-1, 2-2-1, 2-4-3, 2-2-3, 2-4-5, 2-2-5, that kind of idea. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. Right, 2-4-1 first. That one there. As you can see, I've got the fitting heads here. The great thing with having the fitting heads to be able to do this kind of overview is the fact that I can keep it in the same shaft. And I've got the Project X 6.0 down by the side of me, of which I'm going to be hitting into a green in a little while. We're just going to be talking about the looks and tech quickly for all of the 241, 243, 245. Then we're going to the hitting area and go give it a whack into a green to see how they feel, etc. But the 241 has changed slightly over the 221. The main thing they're saying is the fact that it's a slightly more compact look. Now again, guys, I'll probably put something up on the screen there to show you just exactly how much compact we are talking. Compact, it is not a huge amount, so we are talking point of a small millimeter. 7.9, for example, the old 221 was 74.8 mil, and this one is now 74.6. They are smaller, but marginally than the old 2 series, so I wouldn't get worried too much before everyone starts to worry about the fact they won't be able to hit them. It's grain flow forward, still 1025E, the lovely material that Mizuno have used for quite some time when it comes to their full-on blades and their MP in past years. They've still got the soft copper underlay, that material which they have sandwiched between the countless amounts of layers they've got to try and make the Mizuno Pro nothing feels like a Mizuno feel. They have now changed their mass in the head. You can see distinctly that the head now looks more like an old school MP5. This is not chrome like the MP5. Now, I'm a great chrome fan, so it's taken me a little while to get used to the 241 look, but it does now look more like an MP5. If you go back to MP18, which had a solid bar across the back, then the next one was the MP20, had a solid bar across the back, but had a slight chamfering off on the toe, a triangular tail off onto the toe. If you go to 2.1, still had the same, if not slightly more, tailing off on the toe, but also now relief off the heel. And now we have the 241, which basically makes them more triangular, makes it much more like an old school MP5. Remember, the 241 is going to be for the elite player, the player that's looking for ultimate feel and blah, blah, blah. They're not going to be looking at forgiveness. They are looking for trajectory, etc. So that's what these 2.4s are for. I will be doing full forgiveness testing on all of these anyway in the individual reviews. So again, make sure you get subscribed so you don't miss on that one. We have got a slight increased bounce angle on these. Again, it's only a matter of degrees or so. If I can get the lofts up on the screen, I'll pop the lofts up on the screen now. And as I say, yeah, it's not chrome. It is a full satin brushed finish, which I'm taking a little while to get used to because I like a little bit of chrome, especially for the blades. Right, let's quickly have a look at the 243. The 243 is similar technology as what we had in the 223. We've still got the micro slot. Nothing has changed inside there. But we have now got an inclusion of an increased size micro slot. There is no micro slot in the 8-iron down to pitching wedge. That is the transition. The reason why they transition in not only size of micro slot, but then taking the micro slot away is for seamless performance changes. So you don't get a massive distance gap between golf clubs. Also, you can see in the 5 and 4, it's not only wider, it's not only longer, sorry, from heel to toe, it's also wider as well. And the reason why they do that is for its increased launch and also a little bit more faster ball speeds because rebound area is bigger. Obviously 4 and 5 iron, the ball is harder to launch with a 4 and 5 iron, so anything helping that is greatly appreciated. And then the 7.6, again, we've still got the micro slot, but it's slightly smaller. Not quite so big heel to toe, and also not quite as wide, it's slightly narrower. And again, that's for the transition of technology working into the 8-iron, all the way down to pitching wedge, where there is no micro slot whatsoever. So 2, 4, 5, possibly the one that's the best change for Mizuno going forward. The 225 was a hollow bodied iron which had tungsten in it, which in its day, it's 2 years old now, was very, very good. Since then, other manufacturers have changed their design, increased the levels of tungsten, etc. And now the 225, compared to what's modern in the brand new iterations of golf clubs, it's a little bit long in the tooth now. So it's been looking for an upgrade. And now we are talking the biggest upgrade that it's had is that lump of tungsten in there. Previous one had 28 or 30 grams of tungsten. This one's nearly got 50. It's 47 grams of tungsten in there, and it does change between the sets. So it is grain flow forged. So all of these are grain flow forged. They're not all 1025E. They do move into grain flow forged 4135. In the 2 to 8 iron, in the 9 to gap wedge, it then goes into a little bit more of the standardized 1025E. It's just a case of the internal tungsten weighting within the 2 to 7 iron. It has got a massive upgrade, a huge upgrade. It's now 47 grams. There's going to be a slight performance increase over 225. The big gain you're going to get in the 245 over anything else like that in the 225 idea is the fact that that tungsten has made this thing so much more forgiving now than the 225. Guys, if you mishit your irons, I mean, this is smaller, yes it is, it's a Mizuno Pro. However, you can get away with some seriously interesting shots from this. So yeah, stick around for the full review. That will be on my channel soon, so make sure you're subscribed, etc. Still got the soft copper underlay. We have got harmonic impact technology to try and quieten this old girl down, because remember, this is a hollow bodied head. I've already hit this one. It does sound a little bit more clippy. We'll go into that one as soon as we go to the hitting area to see how these feel, etc. We'll go into that, but effectively that's what you're going to get. And again, we've still got the increased bounce angle. It's not by much. Mizuno have historically had quite a low amount of bounce, and if people don't understand what bounce is, you've got the loft angle you can see there, and of course this angle on the sole here, that is not flat. There's an angle that goes down. That's what we call bounce angle, and generally speaking, Mizuno have had quite small bounce angles, so they've increased it, but only by a degree or so. We are not talking masses. Ping are probably the ones with the most bounce angle, and these aren't getting anywhere close to what pings are standard. Let's go to the hitting area now. Let's go set the old simulator on, whack it into a green, and see how it gets on. So I've got the 241 in my hands. We are at Bedensbrook Golf Club. It's hole 13, par 3 of 171 yards, down by a foot. And I've got the 241 in my hands. It's 34 degree lofted 7 iron, so traditionally lofted. It is a blade, and if you look at the blade, it definitely is a blade. Top lines are nice and thin, although they are thicker. Going back to what we were saying, it is actually thicker than it looks. It's just because it's chamfered on that top edge, so you can't see it at address. Sole thicknesses are fairly thin, and blade lengths are fairly small. But guys, there are smaller golf clubs out there. So these are smaller than the previous, but by no means small. They're still, okay, they're small compared to a Game Improvement iron, but again, they are blade. So let's go give this one a hit. Down by the golf ball, you can't see the chrome, which is missing on the back. I'd still like chrome if I could. I haven't got dots on these ones. Slightly turning left, that's me. That's a miss. That's, oof, yeah, that's still hitting green-ish. 167 yards carry, 166 yards carried. Considering that was a miss hit, I would say for me, it's still absolutely, you would take it. Yeah, that's lovely. That's a better hit. And of course, that's exactly where it's gonna go. It feels unmistakably soft, lovely. It's 1025E, it's going to feel nice. It is copper underlaid. It is going to feel nice. It is a blade, it is going to feel nice. As long as you hit it out the middle, it will feel, look, and just do well. Again, you get used to this and you could hit them. If you're a decent ball striker, you could use these, absolutely. They are not small to the point of where you'd hit them and like get scared because they are so small. These are small, yes they are, but they're just still very easy to hit. I'm favouring the left-hand side slightly because the pin is on the right-hand side, and if I miss right, I'm in the bunker. Don't short-side yourself. But yeah, can't complain at all with the 241. Again, full review's gonna be on this one where I hit it all over the face, proper analysis rather than just hitting shots, and we'll go see how forgiving this is in the full ones. But let's go flick over now to the 243. Possibly have to move the tee back because we are talking about 32 degree lofted 7 iron rather than 34. So let's go see how the 243 goes. 243 in my hands now. Looks slightly different to the 223. The 223 had a straighter back bar. This is a bit more of a V-shaped thing, much so like an MP25. Anyone seen an MP20? Okay, technology inside this thing's massively different, but effectively, yeah. When you look at the thickness of the top lines on this one, it is a slightly thicker top line than the 241, but not a huge amount. Sole thicknesses, again, if you actually look at the effective sole, the part which you can physically see, wherefore it curves off at the back, is actually not too far dissimilar to the 241, but when you look and add the back bar on there, which is chamfered away, it is actually considerably bigger. And that's just allowing for the center of gravity to be further and further away from the face to give it a help more in launch and forgiveness, etc. Remember, we have got micro slot in this one. So down by the golf ball, it doesn't look that much difference to 241. You could quite easily blend these. That is going to be very close to the right edge, but good. Now I've put the pin back a few yards because again, we're talking 2 degrees difference in loft. That is solid. We'll call that. This is chromoly. It is not 1025E, so the feel is slightly crisper, but it is slightly. I'm surprised at just how Mizuno can change the metallurgy within their design and still retain feel. The interesting thing will come when it comes to 245, because that is pure on hollow bodied, which will always struggle to retain the feel from a hollow bodied head. That's toe. That's a miss. Now I haven't got dots on this one because of the fact that, again, full-on reviews will do all the misses and stuff like that. I mean, that's just left edge. I mean, that's just a miss from me, but it's still, we are talking, it's a green 175 yards away, you'll take it. Absolutely. Well, the whole idea on this, hit target. If you can hit target or very, very close, that's still puttable. That's 13 yards offline, that is still puttable. You do that, no problem. But then hit where it should do. It's just lovely. Mizuno do know how to make some very, very good equipment. The feel of it, considering it is chromoly and it is not 1025E like the previous 241 was, the feel is different, but it's not massively different. I mean, these, what's that, 38 yards in the air. 38 yards in the air, I could quite easily do that in a 241, but I would have to manipulate flight. This wants to do that naturally. So it wants to launch higher and just go where you tell it. I mean, that's a miss. I did not hit that one as plumb on as I did the previous one. You can possibly tell by distance slightly, minutely. It's just good. Right at the end of the video, we'll do a quick section on who these are going to be for, but let's get the 245 in our hands first before we do that and see how that gets on. 245 in my hands. I have moved the tee back. We're now 181 yards away from target. Again, this is a 30-degree lofted 7-iron, so all the lofts are not equal. 34 in the 241, 32 in the 243, and 30 in the 245. Looks-wise, again, you'll be struggling to really tell this and the 241 apart. The 245 looks like a fat 241. When I say fat, this is by no means fat. If you look at the top lines, again, this is the fattest of the lot, but again, it's by no means massive. The sole thickness, again, is not too far different to the actual 243 in its total width. Again, you've got that chamfering at the back, so the effective sole is smaller than it actually looks. And then you've got, obviously, blade lengths. It's the biggest of the lot. Down by the golf ball, yes, it's the biggest one. So I'll see how interesting this is off the face, because this is hollow bodied. And yes, you can visibly hear it. It is hollow bodied, but that's gonna be close. Oof, just. From 181 yards, I'm taking that. Absolutely. The sound of this is distinctly, it's hollow bodied, so you can feel it. It's a bit more crack. It's good, don't get me wrong. I mean, we are talking about club half is 0. I have got dots on this one. Face was fractionally open by less than a degree. And lie was 0.3 down because I've got these in the 2-up heads. I'm 63.5 degrees for my 7-irons, so Mizuno standard 61.5 degrees. So hence I've got the 2-degree upright heads for the fitting cart. 180 yards away, hitting target you will take all day long, but I'm rather close to that right edge and I'm only 2.7 yards offline. Tricky green from 180, and I've got water on the left. yeah, interesting hole. But feel on that was lovely. Really, really is nice. It'd be interesting to see how much that tungsten, that 50 grams of tungsten is going to do when I'll put them up against the 225. And against all other manners of golf club like the P790 and I525, etc. But let's go give this one a hit. That's safer. That is so powerful. That is so powerful. Look, I mean, that's, whoa, out the back possibly, yeah. Club path slightly across, face the path slightly open. Everything else is really good. 0.8 of a mil low, 0.9 of a mil. Yeah, they do measure in point of a millimeter, yeah. It's just good. 38 yards in the air, 180.6 carry. It's just good. It really is good. Now, again, 5.5 spin. That is not bad considering this is a 30-degree lofted 7-iron. Remember, that kind of loft is very, very similar, if not exactly the same as my 6-iron. And so my 6-iron spins around about 5.5 and 5.5. No difference in spin, even though, I mean, that's going possibly a couple of yards longer than my standard bladed 7-iron, but it's going higher. As a standard, I can manipulate flight, I can try and get them higher if I want to, but 38 yards in the air for a 7-iron or a 6-iron equivalent for me is mighty impressive. This is where you could really transition from your whatever 243 into the 245 when you're looking for a little bit of extra help, especially at the long end of the bag. Right, let's go give it one more hit. It's just, I mean, that was toey. You'll see that from the, oh, wow. Yep, that felt slightly high in the face, slightly toey. 2.9 mil high, 2.9 mil toe. Okay, very small. You've still got feedback. And that's the one good thing. With golf clubs, a lot of the time, as soon as they get bigger, the first thing you lose is feedback, feel as such. You get the sound, the acoustics, the feel of it, but you lose the feedback of where you're hitting it. Absolutely not with this. Even going to 245, which is the biggest one, the most technology-inspired heads, etc., you're not losing feel with these ones. It is just good. 38 yards in the air, 50 degrees ascent angle, knee 49.3 at 181 yards of carry. It is just good. My normal operating temperature, 92.5 miles an hour. It is just good. Let's just go have a quick chat about who these are going to be marketed for. What kind of golfers really are going to be benefiting from either the 241, 243 or the 245. So let's talk about very quickly who these golf clubs are going to be marketed towards and who are they going to be used by. So we've got 241. 241 is definitely going to be for the elite player, or at least the golfer who hits it really well. This is not handicap driven, but there is a general idea that the better handicap you are, the better ball strike you are. When it comes to these kind of things, JPX 923 Tour, the Mizuno Pro 241, these are all for people that strike it fairly well. Are they going to be forgiving? Not in relation to, say, something like a Game Improvement iron, but they're still going to be okay. So you can get away with not perfect shots. These are going to be for the players, high handicap, low handicap, doesn't matter, that swing fairly quick and hit the middle fairly well. Very, very nice feeling, very niche kind of golf clubs, because let's be honest, Mizuno's sales aren't going to be made up of masses of 241 sales. The 243, the player's cavity sector, the one with the micro slot, etc., one that actually feels very, very close on initial testing, which is done there, to the 241. It's surprised with the chromoly, the fact that it's not 1025E grain flow forged. It's still grain flow forged, but it's chromoly, not the standard soft, lovely metal that we know and love in the blades. It still retains quite a lot of the feel that you're going to get from 241, yet you're going to have that micro slot. You've got 2 degree extra in loft, or taken away, so that's more distance, if you know what I mean. And so, yes, with that micro slot, that will help with the transition into the longer irons for sure. They are going to be for the player that wants to go down the Mizuno Pro route, wants to go down to a pro iron, but then does distinctly need the help when it comes to a bit more in launch, definitely. So it can be for a swing speed player, which is not as high as the 241, can be for the high 70s to 80 or so miles an hour, no different to 245. This one has got the capability to help much more golfers. The 245 being the hollow body distance iron, yes, it does feel slightly more crisp, shall we say, than the 241 and 243, especially 241. But it will do, because it is a hollow-bodied head. It is the player's distance. It's the person who wants some extra punch from their irons, and it is definitely a powerful pop off the face. It still looks just as good as the 241 with slightly thicker lines. It's very difficult. If you put the 245 and 241 on a rack and stood away and looked at them, you would be very, very hard pressed to work out from that distance which one is 241 and which one is 245. The only difference I can see with 245 is the fact that the curves, the lines that you have on there, not quite as sharp as on the 241, and of course the 241 is just slightly smaller in all dimensions, but it is relatively slightly smaller. It's going to be for the player that needs help with distance but wants the looks of an MP. This is going to be the most forgiving out the lot. The 47 grams of tungsten is going to work wonders. You can just see by there the launch capabilities of this thing is really very, very good. I am excited to be testing the 245 in a full review, and I'll be doing that one straight after this video. And so again, if you're not subscribed already, make sure you get down there, subscribe, so you don't miss any of the content coming forward. And looking at the 245, 243, 241 in depth, and of course putting it up against the 22 series as the old and new, and also against P790, i525, those kind of ideas to see how well this new range of Mizuno Pro irons gets on. So, hope you liked the video. If you did, thumbs up. Go on YouTube, like so do I. Down there is the subscribe button. It's free. It's great for the channel if you could subscribe, so thank you. And next to that is a bell icon. That is a notification bell. If you click that one, that will notify you next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.